name is Randy Kluver, and it's my privilege to serve as the Associate Provost and Dean at Oklahoma State University Global and the School of Global Studies. Oklahoma State University has a long history of international engagement, with our faculty and staff developing a new agricultural school in Ethiopia in the 1950s. In the 1960s and 70s, in Thailand and Brazil and Pakistan, our faculty, our staff, and our students have had careers of global impact. The School of Global Studies at Oklahoma State University is designed to prepare students to do the same thing, to look at the key issues facing the world and to prepare them to address those issues, whether those are issues of poverty, of development, of conflict, or of crisis. Recently, we were very honored to be chosen to host the Chick Dambach Fellowship in honor of a distinguished OSU graduate, Chick Dambach. Chick, of course, is an alumni who's had an illustrious career in both areas of sports diplomacy, public diplomacy, and other areas of diplomacy, really seeking to build peace around the world. And this fellowship is named in honor of him to prepare students for a life of addressing issues of peace. The first awardee of the Dambach Peace Builder Fellowship is Clinton Wuanka from Ghana, who's had a lifelong dream of attending Oklahoma State University, coming from his experience as a young child. Part of this program also involves an internship where the recipient will conduct an internship during their first and second year that will help prepare them for their career. Clinton's internship was with the international NGO Lawyers Without Borders. What follows is Chick's conversation with Clinton about his internship and how it impacted him personally. I really hope you find this interview interesting. We're thankful for your support of our program and very pleased to be in collaboration with the Dambach Fellowship Founders Council, which has made this production possible. Thank you for watching.
Hello, everyone. And I'm just so thrilled to have this opportunity to be on a video with my friend Clinton Wisdom Wuanka from Ghana. When this program was set up, it was set up to provide scholarships for students from countries where the Peace Corps serves and for returned Peace Corps volunteers. And the first one ever is our friend Clinton. And I don't think we could ask for a better person to start this entire program, the first of what we think will be many over the years and the decades into the future. So this is our opportunity to get to know Clinton a little bit. I've gotten to know him very well, and I hope the rest of you will have a chance to get to know him here today as we do this. Clinton, just tell us a little bit about your background. You grew up in Ghana, and you have along the way had a Peace Corps connection, if you just say a word or two about that, and then ultimately came to Oklahoma State as a graduate student.
All right, so thank you very much, Chick, and I'm really grateful for this honor to speak with you today. So as you rightly said, I'm Wisdom Clinton Wuanka, and I'm from Ghana, precisely Volta region, West constituency. I grew up in a village called Jologbogame, and from Jologbogame, I had the opportunity to attend the University of Cape Coast, which is in Central Region, and here I found myself in Oklahoma State University as a graduate student. So growing up as a child, I basically grew up with my late grandfather by name Edward Komladankwa Wuanka. So my grandfather was working with Operation Crossroad Africa. Operation Crossroad Africa is basically more like a pioneer of the Peace Corps, and my grandfather became a volunteer to the program, and my grandfather basically helps with just in taking the Peace Corps, the US Peace Corps across Africa. So my grandfather basically became like the African director of Operation Crossroad Africa. Actually, almost every year we do have one or two visitors who do pass by as former Peace Corps who always try to connect with my grandfather, and they cannot be in Ghana without passing through my grandfather's place. So as usual, my grandfather turns out to be the host. So during my interaction with them, they stayed with us for about 2 weeks, and I got to meet one nice lady called Anaya. So Anaya, when Anaya was leaving, Anaya gave me an orange T-shirt that basically has the inscription Oklahoma State University. So I asked about it and she was like, oh, Oklahoma State University is where I've attended. And it's in Oklahoma, still where I am from there. My passion for OSU began from day one. So that's some basic background about me.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a great story, and your
Yeah.
family's connection with the Peace Corps is just wonderful.
Thank
Tell
you.
me what you're studying there at Oklahoma State, the Global Studies program, and I know that they have a connection with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. But what kind of classes are you taking? What are you studying? What interests you most? What are your priorities? Tell us a little bit about what you're getting out of your experience there at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State turns out to be more lucky than I actually expected. In fact, when I developed a passion for Oklahoma State University as a child, I never had the idea of any program. I just knew I wanted to come to Oklahoma State University. So like it was more like a coincidence and lucky as well that I finally got in touch with the Global Studies program precisely through Miss Kara Eubanks and Dr. Jamie Fullerton that were very instrumental in assisting me to get this far. So right now I'm in the Global Studies program following the Global Diplomacy and Public Communication track and trying to minor in global development and just in leadership as well as crisis management. I'm trying to cut across almost all aspects of the global studies. In getting to OSU, I got to develop more passion for other aspects of the world, and I got to understand that the world goes beyond what I was thinking when I was in Ghana. And that has actually led me to change my plans from measuring, basically following the global studies track in general by almost touching on all aspects of the program, but then I'm focusing much on diplomacy and public communication. So it is so dear to me because when you look at the program's nature, it is tailored towards helping students to develop a global perspective. And anyone with global perspective will definitely see the world as one global village where we are all the same and opportunities must be just an equal for everyone. So this is very well connected to sustainable development goals in the sense that when we have global perspective, it helps us to eradicate poverty. That's one of the major SDG goals. In fact, that is the SDG goal 1, no poverty. The second aspect to me is our program actually tackles the SDG goal 16, which talks about peace, justice, and strong institutions. When we develop global perspectives, we got to make the world very peaceful. There will be justice everywhere, and all the institutions will be strong because when you destroy an institution somewhere in Ghana, you know very well that you cannot run to another country because the world is one. And wherever you run to, they will catch you over there. You may be caught over there and you may face the consequences of the world. We try to protect the world by coming out with strong institutions, among others. And the third part that I see, which is definitely not the last, is about the SDG goal 17, which happens to do about partnerships for good. There is an adage in my local language which talk about 2 heads are definitely better than 1. That is just to say that when we partner, we are able to come out with productive results. When we come together, we are able to be strong. OSU Global, initially, the name of the school was School of Global Studies and Partnerships. They are able to partner with the world, bring the world to a better place and make the world a just society for everyone. So that, when you, the question basically, I can talk about the fact that my program basically tackles almost all the 17 SDG goals.
Thank you so much, Clinton. I love the story, and the things you're saying about the Global Studies program at OSU just warm my heart. When I was a student there 60 years ago, we didn't have anything close to that. and I wish we had, but I'm just so pleased that it's there now. It's become a highly respected program nationwide and worldwide, and having people like you in it make all the difference in the world. One of the things we were able to do is your internship with Lawyers Without Borders. Can you tell us a little bit about Lawyers Without Borders, what they do, what you did with them in your internship, and what your possible future may be connected with them?
The thought of Lawyers Without Borders brought so much gratefulness and happiness to my heart. And I'll start just by expressing thank you to the Dambach Fellow, to Mr. Cameron Chisholm, who was very instrumental in connecting me to the Lawyers Without Borders, and then to Ms. Taylor, who is currently the executive director. So Lawyers Without Borders, practically, they are a non-for-profit organization based in the United States. Their headquarters is actually in Connecticut, but then they have offices in Washington, D.C. So I joined Lawyers Without Borders over the summer as a summer intern. And in fact, the organization has actually accepted me with so much love, and everything went on well. They are into a lot of stuff, ranging from child trafficking, promoting rule of law, resettlement of refugees, as well as fighting international and organized crimes, as well as promoting wildlife just in preservation across the world. So when I joined Lawyers Without Borders to start with just in working on a rule of law project, which happens to be a project that the organization was working on in my country, Ghana. So the rule of law project, they actually plan on coming out with how to partner with the government of Ghana to help promote just an effective rule of law system. Because trust me, the rule of law system in Ghana is actually, I will call it a poor system right now. So when I was briefed by the executive director about the project, I was so passionate about it. So I worked effectively with them throughout the summer. I provided a lot of research on the fundamentals of Ghana's judicial system, how the cultural perspective of Ghana, because trust me, culture is very, very important in almost everything we do, because you must be able to understand the people, know what they want before you can effectively do or implement a policy for them. In fact, if you are not able to understand the cultural perspective of somebody, you cannot effectively help the person, because you may think what you are doing for the person is the right thing, but then due to cultural divergence and cultural differences, maybe what you think is good for you in the United States is definitely worse for me in Ghana. So I provided a lot of cultural perspectives, researches on the rule of law system in Ghana, how just in Ghana adopted the Republican Constitution in 1992, among others. So those are some of the stuff we work on over the summer.
The rule of law in Ghana is an issue that needs shoring up, and your internship with Lawyers Without Borders helps put you in a position to be able to help out with that. What do you see as your future role with Lawyers Without Borders, and with regard to eventually possibly going back to Ghana?
Ghana is strategically positioned in West Africa in the sense that we are surrounded by Francophone countries. Almost all the countries around us speaks French. And aside that, almost all of them have witnessed various forms of political instability. Talk about Burkina Faso, which is still fighting political. In fact, as of now, Burkina Faso does not have a democratic government, and they are still fighting with the jihadist militants. You go to Ivory Coast, the same is the story. Togo, like almost similar, and across the West African sub-region. So when you come to Ghana, you can find almost all communities in Ghana. The communities in the sense that you can find the Côte d'Ivoire community, you can find the Burkina Faso community, you can find the Togo community, you can find the just in Liberia community. We have a lot of refugees. And the big question is, what is actually helping Ghana to work? The only thing that is helping Ghana to work is rule of law. That is what I believe in. Rule of law is helping us to work. We are abiding by the laws. That is why no matter how much someone steps on the other person's toes, we believe on taking issues through the perspective of law rather than putting justice in our own hands and probably escalating any form of issue. So you can see that like Ghana is the only country among the sub-region that has never tasted any form of political violence or any form of attack from 1992 since we adopted the Republican constitutions, as you talk about. But then what is happening right now is like we are gradually shifting from the principles of good governance, the principles of rule of law, and the corruption perspective across Ghana is quite high now, which is making average citizens or even well-educated citizens to basically lose interest in the rule of law system. So the quest by just Lawyers Without Borders to actually come out with a way to actually influence the rule of law system is a top-notch agenda, which is a great program that almost a lot of people need to assist in realizing it, because trust me, if Ghana falls, West Africa falls. So you go around and you can see Ghana is the only country in the West African sub-region that is actually holding the sub-region very tall. With regards to Lawyers Without Borders, the Ghana program is actually a 5 years program.
I'm going to put two questions or comments together. One of the things that impresses me at the School of Global Studies is they have very prominently on the wall there a challenge to the students that says, how will you change the world? How will you change the world? That's a daily reminder to every student at the School of Global Studies, is that you're there, yes, to build your own career, but to build a career that actually makes a difference, that makes the world a better place. So I guess my question to you is, long-term, how do you envision changing the world, making the world a better place? Because Clinton Wisdom Wuanka was here.
I am from Ghana, and I'm from Africa for that matter. And Africa at the moment is lacking behind. There was a time, I think around 2016, I wrote an article about Africa. Oh, why Africa? That was the title of my article. And I was so sad at some of the events that are happening in Africa. In fact, a brief history about Ghana. As at the time Ghana got independence from the British in the 1957, we were having the same GDP as that of Japan. Ghana was the highest producer of cocoa and the highest producer of gold in the world at that time. The big question is, what happened to Ghana? Look at where Ghana is and look at where Japan is. If they tell us that these are two countries that were once having the same GDP, and in fact, we even had the advantage of being abundantly rich in terms of natural resources, because we had a lot of gold, we had a lot of diamonds, a lot of manganese, a lot of in fact, we just have almost any form of natural resources. We are so lucky. In the year 2007, we discovered oil in commercial quantities. But then the question is Ghana where it is supposed to be? The big question is no. Ghana is performing far behind its potentials. So how can I change the world? It's a big task. I see a lot of things happening in Ghana. I see a lot of things happening in Africa, and I feel I have to do something to change the world. It is a call for me. Trust me that I am very passionate about changing Ghana, and I'm very passionate about changing West Africa. I believe so much in effecting a change in Ghana such that, how do we call it? When you meet a Ghanaian student in the United States in the future and you ask that student, what are your plans after graduation? That student can boldly tell you, I'll go back to Ghana. In the long term, I am definitely returning back to Ghana with a full force of effecting a change. How can I change the world? I strongly believe that I'm going to be an agent of change. I'm going to help take out Ghana from its current mess. And not only Ghana, the whole of Africa, because I believe that growth is not an isolated event. You alone cannot grow among the tons of depleting countries. When Ghana alone grows and those surrounding us don't grow, how do we collaborate to continue growing? So that brings the bigger question, the idea of Pan-Africanism. We must be able to unite Africa, make Africa grow, and be able to have a voice to change things, because the current trend is as worse as you can imagine. So it is my quest. I always tell myself it is a call that I need to rise up and make a change for Ghana. So I am definitely going to change Ghana from its its current woes, and try to position it. In fact, as long as I live, I'll continue the fight for Ghana, and as well as the whole of West African sub-region.
Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with the people that'll be seeing this video?
This is a great opportunity for me to thank all those who have, who even birthed the idea of the Dambach Fellowship, and all the donors, as well as you yourself, Chick Dambach. You've been so great, and Kay, you've been so great and very instrumental to me from the one that I was announced as the Dambach Fellow. I strongly believe that this fellowship is in the right direction, and I'm so much proud to be the first ever recipient of the fellowship.
Well, thank you, and we're honored to have you as our first Dambach Fellow, and we just look forward to following your career throughout your life. It's going to be spectacular, and so proud of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and talking with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chick. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sherry Caves. On behalf of the Dambach Fellowship Founders Council, I want to thank you for viewing this interview of our first Dambach Fellow, Clinton Wuanka of Ghana. We want to thank him for participating, and thank Chick Dambach for the interview and for making the arrangements for Clinton to serve with Lawyers Without Borders. We hope you found the interview illuminating and that you are proud to be affiliated with it. The Dambach Council is comprised of classmates of Chicks from the late 1960s at Oklahoma State University, our alma mater. Many of us have remained friends over the years. When it was proposed that we endow a fellowship back at OSU to honor Chick, who had become our most vocal spokesperson for peace building, many of our fellow classmates jumped at the chance. When we learned that OSU's School of Global Studies, now called OSU Global, led by Dean Randy Kluver, we found ourselves at home with a kindred mission with our fellowship honoring Chick. To date, over 70 classmates and other colleagues of Chick's whom he had met over the years have raised over $420,000 for the endowment in his name, and we're not finished. If you would like to join us in making possible the kind of program you have witnessed today, we'd appreciate this. On the screen now is our website that will enable you to do it. Thanks again for watching.